What are the biggest obstacles to peace? Let's bring in former Israeli ambassador to the UN, Michael Oren. Michael, I hope you had a good Hanukkah. Thank you for joining me. As always, I appreciate you.
Good to be with you, Chris. Good morning here in Tel Aviv.
I know. And thank you for doing it, man. It's the middle of the morning. I appreciate it. I really do. I really do. So the easy part is, as long as Hamas is in control of Palestine, is there really any way for a lasting peace agreement, or does part of a lasting peace agreement, or even the beginning of one, have to start with elections?
Well, Chris, if Hamas remains in power, there'll be peace. It just won't be a state of Israel. Hamas is dedicated to destroying the state of Israel. It's devoted to killing Jews. That's what its charter is about. It's a genocidal charter. And I've been involved in the peace process going back now close to 30 years. And every time we got close to peace with the Palestinians, Hamas killed not only Israeli Jews, Hamas killed Palestinians. Hamas blew up Palestinians back in, say, 2006 and 7 when it took over the Gaza Strip. It took 600 Palestinian policemen and literally threw them off the tops of roofs in Gaza because the Palestinian Authority was engaged in a peace process with Israel. And Hamas will do it again and again. It will kill Israelis and Palestinians who are trying to make peace. The answer is very clear. Hamas exists, no peace.
Two more questions. First one, if it's so cut and dried from your perspective, how do you account for such a different balance of perspective in America than at any point previously back to, let's say, 1973? Where we've never had people on the streets of major cities en masse like they are right now saying the kinds of things that they're saying. Why?
Well, I think you were talking about the role of social media. I think you have to look at the role of education, certainly on campuses, what's going on. And I think it's important to point out that the people who are protesting for Hamas, for Palestine, are also protesting against America. And there's a long list of grievances. When they say the word Palestine, they mean many, many things. They may mean socialism. They may mean internationalism. They're burning the American flags. They're spitting and cursing American policemen. You look at the pro-Israel protests, they're waving the American flag and they're thanking the policemen. Right. It's a very different worldview there. And to understand that the grievance on the side of the pro-Palestinian protest is not just against Israel. It's against Western civilization. It's very deep.
Last, and this is going to be sensitive. When we spoke earlier on, I thought this happening on Bibi's watch was it for him. And then, of course, they were in crisis, so they had to wait. But I thought certainly this was over. Now it's a question mark. But his ministers and even he himself have said things that are not embracing of a two-state solution, that are antagonistic towards Palestinians and Gaza and how they should be treated. And my question is, do you believe it's out of step with Israel? I had some polling done. There has been a deterioration of support or belief that a two-state solution is possible, but it's still close to a plurality on polls. Even after October 7th, you're still somewhere around high 30s to low 40s of wanting it. But Bibi doesn't seem to want it. His ministers don't seem to want it. Does he have to go and be replaced by a government there and leadership who want the two-state solution and are willing to make it work?
Thanks, Chris. And it's important to point out I'm not a spokesman for the government anymore. I'm not a spokesman for the prime minister. But here's the way I see it, and I think the way I see it reflects general Israeli public opinion. Right now, we're in the throes of a horrible war, just in many ways nightmarish war. We're losing soldiers every day. We feel isolated in the world and misunderstood. And the sense is that it's probably very much premature to be talking about a two-state solution. Even our president, Isaac Herzog, who comes from the Labor Party, has urged the United States to stop talking about a two-state solution right now because Israelis don't believe there's anybody to talk to right now on the Palestinian side. And where you have a Palestinian state in the West Bank, it would probably be overthrown by Hamas in a matter of days, and we'd be fighting a two-front war with Hamas along our longest and most sensitive border. And so the question is, you have to say, now we're getting into deep hypotheticals. If you had a different Palestinian leadership that was willing to live truly in peace with us, a permanent, legitimate peace, then the majority of Israelis would say, yes, we want this peace. We've had it. We're sending our children off to war.
Maybe not Bibi.
but maybe not Bibi, in which case we are a democracy and Bibi will be thrown out of office. And it's happened before. Netanyahu was prime minister back in the late 1990s, and there was a sense that there was a Palestinian leadership that was willing to make peace, and he was voted out of office. And we voted in a labor government, if you remember, under Ehud Barak, and he offered a two-state solution to the Palestinians and almost the entire West Bank, all of Gaza, half of Jerusalem, willing to redivide Jerusalem. And the response was, as you said earlier, the Intifada that killed 1,000 Israelis, the equivalent of about 35,000 Americans. And so Israelis are afraid of revisiting that scenario. But I guarantee you, if there is a Palestinian leadership that is willing to truly sit down and make peace with us, that's not going to fall apart to Hamas in another week, the majority of Israelis will go for that deal.
Former Ambassador Michael Oren, you're up in the middle of the night. You're coming to us, and I appreciate you, and I wish you the best.
Thank you very much, Chris. Quiet night.
All right.